Good evening. My name is Dr. Charles Lentz, and I serve as the superintendent of the New Hope Silbury School District, but I also have the pleasure and distinction of serving as the MBIT's superintendent of record. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the meet and greet featuring our newly appointed administrative director, Dr. Mark Covelle. And as we transition from our executive council meeting to the meet and greet portion of the evening, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our MBIT Culinary Arts and Science students for the wonderful refreshments. I would ask that you give them a round of applause. And I would like to especially thank their instructors, Mike Stafford and Kristen Taylor, for their hard work in organizing this evening. An evening like this takes a lot to put together, so I would also like to recognize and thank the many departments and staff members from MBIT who made tonight possible. I would not be able to list all of them by name, as I would be sure to omit someone, but I want to make sure that their efforts to plan, organize, and set up this event are very much appreciated. And it is now my pleasure to introduce the following MBIT students to share what MBIT means to them. Please come forward as I call your names. Isabella Risic, Multimedia Technology student in the 11th grade. Samantha Rosinski, Multimedia Technology student who's a senior. Jenna Birkin, who's a Medical and Health Professions student in the 12th grade. Gabriella Marachi, who's an electrical technology student in the 11th grade, and Kaylin La Rosa, who is a sports therapy and exercise management student in the 12th grade. I'm now going to turn the program over to the students.
Hi, welcome. Welcome, Dr. Covelle. Good evening. I'm Jenna Birkin, a level 300 medical and health professions student. I love MBIT and what it has to offer students who are not only trying to pursue their future careers, but those who are ready to enter the workforce. I am grateful to be a part of this amazing school.
Hello, my name is Samantha Rosinski. It is my third year as a multimedia technology student. MBIT is such a great place because it involves more hands-on activities than my home school, CB South. Moreover, I specifically enjoy working with other programs in the school to curate video projects and keep an open mind to other career options. Welcome, Dr. Covelle, to such an amazing home. I look forward to you being a part of the amazing things we have to offer.
Welcome, Dr. Covelle. My name is Kaylin La Rosa, and I'm a level 300 student in the sports therapy and exercise management class. My favorite thing about MBIT is all the equipment and facilities that we have in the programs. We have the latest and greatest technology and equipment that supports not only my growth, but also all the other amazing students here at MBIT. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ella Marachi, and I'm in the 200th level in the electrical technology program. MBIT has provided myself and other students with Skills USA. Skills USA is a leadership organization that has allowed myself and others to partner with fellow students, teachers, and industry to sustain a skilled workforce. Welcome, Dr. Covelle.
Good evening, staff and community members. My name is Isabella Risic, and I am in the 200 level Multimedia Technology program. My favorite thing about MBIT is the amazing faculty and staff. They provide us with the necessary skills and attributes to excel in today's workforce. Dr. Covelle, welcome to the MBIT family.
Good evening. My name is Flemming Godiksen, and I'm the school director from the Centennial School District and also serves as the chair of the MBIT Executive Council. Before we begin the program this evening, I want to take a few moments to recognize fellow school directors who serve on the MBIT Executive Council and who are here in attendance this evening. I know we have Lisa Ciccio. Would you please stand up and be recognized? Dana Hunter. Both directors from Center Bucks School District. Bob Hickey, School Director from Council Rock School District. Mantu Patel, School Director from New Hope Silbury School District. People not here tonight, Vosblom from Central Buck School District. Mary Alice Brancato from Centennial School District. Michael Leiden from Centennial School District. Our MBIT Executive Council has been working diligently these last several months to choose just the right person as the next Administrative Director of MBIT. Before we begin the question and answer portion of this forum, I want to share the Administrative Director's search process which the Executive Council undertook with the assistance of the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. Again, thank you very much to the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. In the early spring, the Executive Council engaged the assistance of the Bucks County Intermediate Unit to serve as the council search consultant for the new Administrative Director. The Bucks County IU, on behalf of the Executive Council, conducted a community survey to identify the community opinions and priorities for our new director. 175 parents, guardians, students, MBIT staff, sending district employees, local business owners, and other community members responded to the survey, offering feedback on the ideal characteristics and attributes for our next administrative director. The survey was also captured what the community believes MBIT prioritized should be for the immediate and long-term future of the school. We appreciate, again, the Bucks County IU with the survey, as it enabled the Executive Council to use these survey results to conduct a comprehensive search process. Based on the survey results, the Bucks County IU helped the Executive Council of activity recruit qualified candidates and advertise in local, regional, state, and national publications. The Administrative Director position was advertised from June 17, 2022 to July 10, 2022. 19 qualified candidates applied for the position, including candidates from out of state. The Executive Council thoroughly reviewed all applicants and selected 9 candidates to move forward to the first round of interviews. Following these initial interviews, the Executive Council conducted more extensive second round interviews, moving forward 6 candidates. Following these interviews, the Executive Council conducted a third and final review round and chose 3 finalist candidates to participate in even more wide-ranging interview protocol. After this extensive search process, the Executive Council chose Dr. Mark Covelle as our new MBIT Administrative Director. The Executive Council just voted earlier this evening to approve a contract with Dr. Covelle, and I am now pleased to give our community an opportunity to hear directly from him about his vision and thoughts for the future of MBIT. To give a little background about Dr. Covelle, Dr. Covelle has spent the last 19 years in public education as both teacher and administrator. Most recently, he was the Director of Academics and Special Programs at Lehigh Career Technical Institute in Shanksville. He has a doctorate degree from Drexel University in Educational Leadership and Management, and holds a master's degree from both Lehigh University and Wilkes University. I'm anxious for you to hear from Dr. Covelle But first, I want to recognize Dr. Mark Hoffman, Executive Director of the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, who will give you an overview of the schedule for the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm not Mark Covelle, but I am Mark Hoffman. So I'm what's between you and meeting your new administrative director, so my comments will be brief. In my role at the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, I serve as the executive director, and one of the most important things that we do at the Intermediate Unit, one of 29 educational service agencies in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that support the schools and families and communities of our Commonwealth, is to support schools with their executive searches. It's one of the most important things that a board or executive council can do. That is to find a qualified candidate to serve in the role as the chief academic officer, essentially the chief administrative officer of the school districts and career and technical centers in Bucks County. And so on behalf of the Intermediate Unit team, Karen Sandone, our Director of Human Resources, Rebecca Malamus, our Deputy Executive Director, myself, and the entire Bucks IU family, I just want to thank MBIT for the opportunity to support this amazing school that we partner with in so many ways at the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, for the opportunity to support you in your search for the next administrative director. Thank you to the Executive Council for putting your faith in the Bucks County Intermediate Unit to help facilitate this search on your behalf so that you could find and have found an extremely qualified candidate that will bring only amazing, successful endeavors to this school in the future. A little bit about tonight. There are 3 parts or segments of our evening. We're in the first part now, which is the introductory comments. In a second, you'll hear from Dr. Covelle. He'll share with you some opening remarks. Following the opening remarks, Dr. Covelle and I will go on the stage, and I have about 6 questions for him. I'll tell you more about those 6 questions when we get to the stage. And then following the question and answer period, Dr. Covelle will have one more opportunity to address the community, followed by some closing remarks from Mr. Godikson, the Executive Council's chair. So without further ado, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to all of you officially for the first time following his appointment earlier this evening, Dr. Mark Covelle, your new Administrative Director. Mark. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. This is both surreal and overwhelming at the same time. And in my wildest imagination, when I thought what this meet and greet would look like, you have far surpassed what I had even envisioned that this would be. So thank you first for hosting me and having me, and thank you to the Executive Council and to the IU for facilitating such a wonderful process. As you heard, my name is Mark Covelle. I'm currently the Director of Academics and Special Programs at Lehigh Career and Technical Institute. Just a little bit about me. I come from a town called Winnetka, Illinois. That's in the north suburbs of Chicago and reminds me very much of this community. I was drawn to the excellent programs that you have at MBIT. I was drawn to your phenomenal staff at MBIT, and I look forward to helping to grow your programs even more and do great things here. I went to undergraduate at Boston College, came to the Lehigh Valley, had to see about a girl, and that's my wife in the front row, Stephanie. You'll get to meet her later. And started my educational career in the Lehigh Valley and found myself drawn to career and technical education. And I believe that career and technical education is an unbelievable opportunity for our students. And I never knew that that was going to be my path. And now looking back, I'm certain that will be my future. I look forward to working with this tremendous staff. I have to tell you that the career and technical education community in Pennsylvania is extremely small. And when folks heard that I was going to be the next director at MBIT, every single person said, "It is just a gem of a school, Mark. It's a gem of a school." And I cannot wait to participate and be part of that gem of a school and lead you, hopefully, to many, many, many great things to come. So thank you very much for having me. I appreciate very much the opportunity to lead, and I look forward to meeting you all both here tonight But it is my goal to meet individually with every member of our school community here so that I hear what you have to say and we connect on a one-to-one basis. So thank you again. I'm humbled, I'm honored, and I am thrilled to be part of this team. Thank you.
I was hoping for smoke to sort of mess, but no smoke. Okay, so we're now in the second part of the evening, and the purpose of this portion of the celebration tonight is to make sure that the community has had an opportunity to ask Dr. Covelle some questions at this event. Obviously, you're going to be available. Folks are going to schedule time. You're going to schedule time to meet with them to share a little bit more about you and for them to ask questions about your vision. But it's always nice to have an opportunity, an event like this, to have some foundational questions to give folks a sense of who you are beyond that short introduction that you gave. And hopefully these questions get at that. So where do these questions come from? For about a week in advance of this event, it was announced that there was a survey that folks could complete online to ask Dr. Covelle questions about his vision and his plans for MBIT. And so the questions that I'm going to ask Dr. Covelle are not my questions per se. They're questions that literally came, in some sense, from folks that are in this room that took the opportunities to submit questions last week when the survey was live. So that's what we're going to do.
Okie dokie. Sounds good.
And you already got an MBIT mug, right? That's great. So, Dr. Covelle, one of the questions was just such a great question, I think, to start with. It was, what are you excited about? You're about to join this amazing team. You mentioned that. What makes you excited about joining MBIT?
If it is not plainly obvious from what we saw earlier, clearly the students are one of the main reasons that I'm excited. What a phenomenal group of students, both our students in the back and our students up front here. What a phenomenal group of students. So I'm most excited to serve our student population, but I know that we have a world-class group of folks teaching here, some who I know and some who I've met through the process. And I've made it clear to the Executive Council that I'd like MBIT to be in the conversation, not just locally, not just regionally, but nationally, because it is a gem, and I would like to make sure that we position ourselves in a place where that's coming true. So I'm most excited to be your lead learner here at MBIT, to learn as much as I possibly can about the organization. But I can tell you the things that bring me the most excitement when I just reflect, and the things that I'll probably talk about on the drive home are going to be how great the students have been so far and how excited I am to work with the phenomenal faculty and staff that are here.
Yeah, and on that note, I think we should give some applause to the students that spoke and the students in the back that have prepared. And we talk in front of audiences for a living. So kudos to all of you. You did a great job this evening, and the food in the back is delicious, so thank you. Dr. Covelle, there was a question about communication. Communication could mean a lot of things, right? And so as you start your administrative directorship, could you give the stakeholders that are here, that are watching, or that will be watching in the future the recording of this, a sense of what communication will look like during your tenure? Not only how are you going to communicate with the students and the staff, but with the parents, with the sending districts, and with the many, many community partners that MBIT proudly has?
It's a great question, and as a consortium school, we serve our 4 sending districts, and we also serve our own community. And so communication is critically important to make sure that everybody knows what's going on and is able to actively participate in the school. So what will it look like under me? Hopefully it will look quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Robust. I think that we are in an age where there's no such thing as too much communication. And there's so much communication coming at us that we have to be present in the places where people are in order to have our message reach. So I would say that you would expect to hear me talk about communication through different modalities. You would hear me talk about communication through different means, and trying new ways to make sure that both our community here and our sending districts are aware of what we're doing and the good things that are happening. I would say that getting to know our processes and procedures is going to be job number one, and learning more about how we communicate, and then identifying some areas where, and taking some feedback to understand how we could do a better job if there's areas to improve. But I think voluminous and robust would be the best ways to communicate, because here's the other pieces. There's so much happening here. 21 different programs happening, so many students doing so many great things. I think the communication out of a career technical center should be seamless, because there's so much to communicate out and there's so many good things happening for each one of our sending districts. And I want to make sure that we're sharing all of those good things out as much as possible. But certainly learning more about how we communicate, that'll be job number one. And then seeing if there's ways that we can continuously improve that.
So what is your first 30, 60, 90, your first year? How will you know your first year has been successful, and what should folks expect from you as you start?
Well, I've committed to the first 100 days of having an entry plan that makes sure that I'm meeting with all of the stakeholders that are part of this community and learning as much as I can about this school and this community. The interview process is a bit of a sterile one in that I haven't spent a lot of time in these hallways, and I haven't gotten to meet all of the teachers. And so I really, really, really want to make sure that I'm in all of the labs and I'm seeing with my own eyes what's happening here at MBIT. Beyond that, there are certain metrics we can look at to know if good things are happening here, whether that's student achievement data, whether that's interactions with some of our outputs that we have. Those are all certainly good data points, but I think anecdotally we're going to know based on the student experience how things are going. I think we're going to know based on staff surveys how the culture and climate of the school are going, and then we're going to use a continuous improvement model, because we can always do better. We can take that next step. We can find that adjacent possible to where we are to keep being better and better and better, and making sure that we're sharing that out with our community.
So you mentioned school culture. That was actually the theme of one of the questions. The question asker talked about some of the strides and improvements that this person perceived in culture at MBIT, a mascot, some hashtags, and some really intentional efforts to improve the culture and to maintain a positive culture. So what can the staff and the students expect from you, and what can the sending districts and the community expect from you, specific to building and maintaining a positive culture where people enjoy coming to work and coming to school?
What a great question. I think that the focus on culture has to be intentional. I think that the focus on culture has to be continuous. And I also recognize that I am not going to be the one person that turns culture on or turns culture off, but I'm also willing to accept that every interaction that I have and our teachers have has an opportunity to be a culture builder or a culture killer. And I want to promote a positive culture. I want to check in on our culture. I want to make sure that when we have those interactions, we're intentional about them and we're trying to be culture builders here. I absolutely love the school spirit. I was so pumped to hear that there's a mascot. That's the best. I cannot wait.
Are you going to get in a suit if there's a...
If it fits.
All right.
If it fits.
Can we make one I think we can make one that fits.
She just shook her head and said it ain't going to fit. So.
What is it?
We have a medium and an extra large copy of the suit.
All right.
It certainly won't be the medium version.
You're welcome.
We'll work on the extra large version. I love that part of it, because I was going to say it's a small thing. It's not a small thing, and I'm sure that instituting that was not an easy task, and yet it's something around which you can rally. It's something around which you can have collective pride. And so being willing to engage in those activities, I try to find a way to say yes when I can, when it makes sense, when we can do things that will build that culture. Know that I'm looking for the yes in those conversations. It's not always a yes. There are many reasons for that. But when we can find the yes, we're going to try to implement something that will help build those things. And then the other piece is just making sure that we're attending when there are cultural issues. We don't ignore them, that we listen, that we hear, that we're talking. The reason I want to be in everybody, I had a conversation before, and one of the teachers said, "I'll come down and we can have a meeting." My immediate response was, "Absolutely not. I'll come up to your room and we can have a meeting there." This is not a come down to my office for a meeting type of situation. I need to be in the rooms, in the spaces, in the labs, and I want to see what we're doing, and I want to see the quality of the programs that we have. So how will I build culture? I will build culture by being a cultural leader, by bringing energy and enthusiasm. There are folks in this room that know me, and that's the book on me, is that I typically will bring a lot of energy and excitement and enthusiasm. I plan on doing the same thing. And then I plan on making sure that if we need to address items that come up, that we address them head on, that we don't let things fester. That's a culture killer, and we don't want to reinforce those things.
So you're going to learn a lot about the school. You're going to hear a lot of folks' opinions in your 30-day, your 60-day, your 90-day. Over the course of your tenure, you're going to continue to discover more and more about the MBIT community and culture. A question asker wants to know, in the event that you find something that you'd like to implement or change, or perhaps there's something that the school wants to do differently, what will the change process look like under your tenure? What can people expect when there's something new to be deployed or rolled out or implemented?
My goal is to build consensus around change. Unilateral change is rarely received well unless there's a significant need for it. And so to that point, I would say hopefully that issue is something that we all recognize, and we have built consensus and built a coalition around the need for change, and then we work to implement those steps. I think feedback is incredibly important. This is our school. This is not my school. This is our school, and so the goal is to make sure that we're building that consensus, that we're understanding the scope of the issue or the need for change, and then we're implementing change in a way that is transparent, in a way that is methodical and predictable, because when you don't have those elements, that unpredictability leads to consternation and concern. And so being transparent and being predictable in those change processes are critical to the success of them. So I would say that would be a lot of processes, and processes in schools can sometimes be frustrating because they don't happen as fast as you may like them to. But that's all part of the need to make sure that the decision that you're making is fiscally responsible, stable for future growth, and you've got the foundation that you need to be successful.
Thank you. Last question. Earlier this evening at the Executive Council's meeting, there were some updates on facilities projects. We learned about the roof. We learned about some things taking place with the outside area, some upgrades and improvements to the instructional spaces. Interestingly, one of the questions that was asked was, what will renovations, upgrades, expansion look like under your tenure, or how will you even wrap your arms around it, knowing it's such an important topic given the enrollment demand and also given the state of the school as it is?
I don't know that I can commit to anything from this seat tonight right now.
Of course. How will you approach that?
So my goal is to have a long tenure at MBIT, and I want to think through a strategic lens. And so that is going to be with the evaluation of the enrollments in certain areas, identifying the need for growth and change, identifying the areas and the opportunities. The other thing that we heard tonight is that as we look to implement any building projects, that we're going to run into more and more issues with regulation and whatnot. So being methodical about those decisions so that we commit the time, effort, and energy to the right projects at the right time. and being open to listening to the need for those items. But I would say the process is going to look like evaluating our trends, identifying areas for future growth, and then targeting those areas.
Well, just in my concluding remarks before we turn things back over to Dr. Covelle and Mr. Godekson to conclude tonight's evening, I just wanted to again thank the MBIT community on behalf of the Intermediate Unit for this opportunity. I want to acknowledge Dr. Tom Seidenberger, the Acting Administrative Director, for the amazing work that he's done to launch the school year. Could we acknowledge Dr. Seidenberger and his efforts? Dr. Seidenberger is leaving you with a really impressive school in his short tenure as Acting Director, so thank you, Tom. I want to acknowledge Dr. Chuck Lentz, the Superintendent of Record. Thank you, Chuck, for all of your support from New Hope Solebury. I want to thank the Executive Council one more time just for the work. Now, just for the folks in attendance, the Executive Council, they're volunteers. And not only are they volunteers here at MBIT, they're actually appointed to this board in their first volunteer job, which is locally elected school board officials in the 4 sending districts. And so I want to acknowledge them one more time, because not only are they committing time to MBIT, but they're committing time to their local district, which of course MBIT is an extension. So could we thank the Executive Council for their thankless, tireless work? Mark, I'm excited for you. I have really enjoyed getting to know you through this interview process. You are going to do amazing things here, and I just am excited that I get to, one, be a part of it from my seat at the Intermediate Unit. I know that this school will benefit from your leadership, and I look forward to working with you, learning from you, and supporting you however I can at the Intermediate Unit along with our team. So
Thank you.
So with that, I wish you the best, and I want to turn things back over to you one more time. You can come down to the floor and give some concluding remarks, maybe cover something that you'd like to reinforce or something that you'd like to restate, and then Mr. Godekson will close tonight. One more time for Dr. Covelle as he goes downstairs. Great job.
I'm so impressed already, and I said it before, I feel like I have to say it again. I am so humbled to have this many folks come out for this presentation tonight, and I am incredibly honored to be a part of your school community. We are going to do great things, and I hope all of you will be supporters along the way and help us to reach those new heights. I would like to reiterate, I appreciate very much the work of Dr. Lentz, Dr. Seidenberger, the entire Executive Council, a phenomenal group. I cannot tell you how excited I am to work with and for these folks. It's going to be an exciting time, and I look forward to it with all my heart. So thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for staying, and to our students who participated tonight, you are the reason that we do this work, and you are our future, and so thank you for coming out on your Monday night and being a part of this as well. I cannot wait to work with you as well. Thank you, everybody. Dr. Henson. Thank you very much. Board. Thank you.
I also want to mention that at the last interview session, we did have a staff participation here from Mill Bucks, and they endorsed Dr. Covelle. Dr. Lentz, endorsed him, that evening as well. But again, thank you very much to Dr. Mark Covelle and Dr. Huffman and the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, not for your help with tonight's event, but for your assistance with the entire administrative director search process. I also want to thank the MBIT staff and students who helped with the program this evening. The program this evening is being videotaped by the MBIT multimedia technology students, and under the directions of their instructor, James Stavey. A link to the video, to view the video of tonight's events will be placed on the MBIT website. On behalf of the MBIT Executive Council, I want to also thank all of the staff, students, and community members who attended this evening. Thank you once again for coming out to this event, and I hope all of you have an enjoyable rest of the evening. Thank you.